So it's been a while since I've been up in Canada on Josiah's side. He's somewhere in Trenton, small city.
What's going on, guys? I'm going to show you the shop layout of everything that I've done over the last few years since Joel's been here. He's going to show you a couple scenes from when he last visited, probably around 3 years ago. Hi, my name is Josiah Fillets. We're currently standing in our foyer. This is where we can show off some of our products that we've created over the last few years. We've got our merch here at the front. Handbrakes on display. I don't know if you can see this or not. You can wrench on the stuff in here, feel how it is. I'm going to show you guys the process of design from the computer through the shop to where the material comes in raw in plate form, and then we cut it, we sandblast it, we weld it, we machine it, we powder coat it, we assemble it, and we ship it. All of which happens under one roof and then goes out to you guys.
All right, so Josiah's gonna walk us through there. And crazy, dude, you are so much better on camera since the first time. The first time we did like a nuke install, and this guy, it took quite a bit, but now he's just flowing. He took over the thing, so I'm gonna grab the camera and we're gonna go back there.
Okay, this is the entrance to our shop, and I'll take you to where the design center is. In here, we have Waterjet, one of our main engineers. He does a lot of the work behind the scenes along with me. He's been with us for a year and a half-ish. And then my desk over here, I have on the screen a 350Z Mega Kit. Just to show you, this is one of the longest selling kits that we've made. And I'll give you an idea of how it starts and then what these parts look like after we design them and cut them on a Waterjet. So sitting down, taking a look, you can see the entire model is fully assembled with all the control arms, the knuckle, the upper control arm. What you don't see is that we have a 3D scan of the car itself. So this is an outline of the wheel well and everything in here. We have the subframe, compression arm mount, upper control arm mounts here. So we can actually articulate this and go lock to lock and see what's going on with this kit. We can perfect the alignment specs. We can measure it here on the computer so that when we sell this, we are able to show you what this kit is going to be set at, what it's going to do, and how it's going to behave. Okay, moving over to Waterjet's desk. He is working on installation guides. This is something that we're focusing on for the future, to have a fully understood installation guide, torque specs, and there will be no question on how you're going to be installing these kits. You are able to install this with this installation guide. Obviously, a professional is required as well, but you'll be able to understand your kit using this. So this is the 350Z Mega Mantis kit. We start with an introduction and some basics. Use jack stands, make sure it's a safe work area, removing all of the factory suspension and so on. We have safety requirements, warning signs, the Ackerman setup, highlighting the views of the arms and telling you what side of the vehicle it's for, how to adjust things, where you should put your sway bar. Waterjet has done a really good idea at taking everything that I've done with these products and putting it down on paper in a industry standard way. So it looks very professional. We have the links to our social accounts, and you guys will be able to get these. As we keep rolling out with these kits, we're going to keep doing these for the products that we currently have and for any new products that we come up with. So one other point to make, in this office, we have our 3D printer for prototyping parts. In my hand, we have a mini kit prototype that's going for the S550 Mustang, and I have the machined chromoly actual part that is going to be tested on the chassis. We've done the strength analysis, we've printed it and made sure that it fits the knuckle. Now it's time to test it on a car and see how it handles. That's done in the office. Our display, if you're wondering, is showing a Corvette, an S-chassis rear grip kit, and a 350Z Mega Kit with some rear adjustable arms, and then our universal handbrake. It's really nice, shows you the bearings and the quality of that. Through here, we're gonna bypass some of the section here. This is actually the final stage of shipping the product out. We're gonna skip this and go right over to the Waterjet. Okay, this is where the material comes in through the door. I built these racks to hold all the material, raw plate, so that when we need it, all different thicknesses, we load it on our table over here with our forklift. This is our CNC Waterjet machine. It uses 50,000 PSI mixed with garnet, sand, in order to cut through any thickness plate, up to 6 inches thick. Currently on the table right now is some 3/4 high-strength alloy steel. This is what we use to make a lot of our control arms, and you can see the cutouts on the table where you have some Corvette arms, we have some Subaru arms, and then over there we have some knuckle backs. The control panel is here, and then the pump that drives all the water is right there. These machines require highly filtered water, so there's actually 6 filters that the water goes through before it gets to the nozzle all the way down to like 2 micron or something. And it needs to be that way, otherwise these lines under heavy pressure will deteriorate and break down and do all this stuff. So we got to remove the iron out of it. We got to remove all the things that are in the minerals in water out of it to make it as pure as possible. So if you could drink out of this nozzle, it would be pretty much the best water you could get. But you can't, because it would cut you in half, so don't do that. This is our sand hopper. It holds all the garnet for the machine. We built that as well. What they don't tell you with these machines is that you need to make a lot of stuff work. This is our hoist. Corvette's currently on it. Cam working on it. Gotta skip all of this cool stuff for now. We'll get to it. From the Waterjet, all the parts come over here, kind of looking like this. These go into our sandblaster to get cleaned up so that they are nicely prepped for welding. Now off to the welding department. After the parts are sandblasted, they come over here to be welded. You can see these are nicely sandblasted parts. There's some scaling that comes on the alloy steel that's very difficult to penetrate with a welder. So that's why we sandblast them. Rain, our one welder, has some stuff going on here. We've got some Corvette handbrakes being done. We still do stock some of our V1 stuff. This is actually a V1 350Z control arm, just for anyone to have for if they want to buy spares or not. We still make the old stuff so that everyone can be serviced. Doesn't matter if you have the old or new, we still service the kit. Rain is doing a killer job welding up some of these 350Z lowers. These pieces will eventually mate together and be welded there. So after the products are welded, we then need to powder coat them. So we were just in the powder coating section. I'm going to show you some finished stuff on the rack, and then we're going to quickly go to the next stage, which is cleanup and assembly. In the powder coating section, we have a couple control arms and knuckles. On this rack, we do custom color and standard color. We spray the arms in our spray booth over here, and then after they're sprayed, we put them in the oven. Powder coating requires a heat treatment after so that it bonds and does all of its chemical things at certain temperatures for certain amounts of time, and then it gives you a nice finished product hanging up over here. These arms are freshly out of the oven. We use a fan to dry them, and you can see this is our standard hammer finish. The next thing is that on the assembly table, we need to make sure the threads are nice and clean. Pull the plugs out and make sure these threads are good and that the whole kit can be assembled properly without any interference from the powder coating. Going from the powder coating to the assembly is the next step in theory, but we're gonna go over what we do with all of these CNC machines. A lot of the products that we have here require some form of machining, especially little spacers, machine discs, handbrake handles, and all sorts of different things. So I'll show you the operation and what these machines do, starting with this one. This is our smallest lathe in the shop. This machine primarily does those misalignment spacers that you see inside of a heim joint, rod end, rose joint, whatever you want to call them. Those require misalignment spacers to fit the different width of different subframes, different cars. Our next machine is a live tooling, much bigger lathe. This machine has an additional axis built in so that it actually has a milling head that can mill parts while they're being turned. The reason for this is so we can make parts like that. A part like this requires milling around the hex, it requires machining around the diameter, and then it requires an internal thread. Something like this would normally take 2 to 3 operations if all you had was a mill and a lathe, but with a live tooling, this part is done in one operation, meaning the whole thing is complete after one run. The last machine here is our CNC vertical mill. This machine does anything that a mill is required to do. We have made some very cool little medallions that are going to be going to all of the LZ World Tour people. This is a really good example of how accurately this machine can do anything. So these are little FDF medallions that Dylan designed, and they say LZ World Tour around the top. You can see how small this is and how accurate this big machine needs to be in order to machine something so small. Okay, now that we've covered the CNC machining stuff, that's all the most fun thing, but it's kind of loud over there, so let's check this out. Doug, my man, is over here doing what I said that we needed to do after the parts are powder coated. We're cleaning the threads, we're making sure that everything fits how it should. We got to press in some bearings, install some snap rings, make sure that our smooth adjusters that you saw over there, now that they're plated, they can fit in the side of the holes really nicely. And this is where the arm gets assembled, but not completely, and I'll explain the difference between the two after. This aisle is literally all of the hardware, spacers, machine parts, and everything is stored. This is where we draw from and assemble kits based on the assembly guides that we design. In these rows, we have complete arms, complete knuckles, and then we store them in that form. The full kit is not necessarily complete. It might be missing some little pieces, but when a knuckle, for example, is completely assembled, that means the tie rod's installed, the spacers are there, and the hardware is there. This is a complete knuckle, but it is part of a full angle kit. So the full angle kit is not completely assembled. We are actually working on getting to that point where fully assembled kits are pre-packaged on the shelf. The bad news is we're too busy to do that right now. The good news is we're working towards it, and we have done it already for a few of our high-selling kits. On this shelf, you see Joel's favorite E36 and E46 control arms, knuckles, angle kits, the whole bit. That is what these look like. These are ready to go. This is technically considered in stock for us. Joel's gonna take the arm. All of these bins that you see here are customer orders on the website. Their order is clipped onto the bin. The one with Duarte, look at this. 1,226 orders from our customer, Duarte. That is Drift HQ. Basically, this is a customer's kit. The kit goes in these bins until it's complete. And when it's complete, we take one of these tags over here, we grab it, we clip it on, and then the shippers know that this order is ready to be packaged and sent out.
I brought over some coffee and donuts for everybody. You know, they're greatly. When you're in Canada, you gotta have Tim Hortons.
Okay, this is probably the least fun, but one of the most important steps shipping the products. We have a bunch of boxes, packing peanuts, foam. It's not that fun, but if you don't do this, the whole kit gets damaged and ruined when you try to ship it out. So we actually spend a lot of money on all of these things.
Josiah,
yeah.
Your kits take about 25 minutes to take apart out of the bubble wrap.
But are they damaged? And you've seen the condition of some of these boxes when you get them. It looks like they rolled down the road.
So shipping companies like to play kickball or whatever, throwing it across the warehouse, but all the kits are unscathed.
So we have all the stuff. We got those quick pack pop things where you pop them.
Oh yeah, the science experiment over there.
We've got these padded envelopes. Like the amount of money that you spend in breaking down the pricing of our kits, it's around $50 to $60 just in box foam packs to ship a kit. And people don't know that, and then you guys just throw it all away, but that's what's required. So that's pretty much the end of this tour. There's obviously lots of other things under the radar that you guys didn't see, like our 3D scanning process and how we actually develop the kit itself. But this is basically our shop. In a nutshell, it's around 10,000 square feet. We have around 16 people working here. And this has been a growth over the last 5 years when I started the company. And we've gone from me by myself making products in a 600 square foot area to then moving shop where Joel was at last, coming to this shop, and then expanding into this building as we grow. We've built another pro car. We're going to compete in FD, and this has been the growth and the story of FDF RaceShop. And this shop will continue to grow as we buy more machines and as we keep reinvesting into this company, all for you guys. Joel, you ready? This is our angle versus OEM display. What it's going to show you is the difference between angle when you upgrade to an angle kit and what it's actually doing with your roll center, with your Ackerman, with your steering ratio. All of that is perfectly tied together so that when we move the steering rack on this jig, it is the exact same from OEM to angle kit. Check it out. I'm going to grab this extra large handbrake looking thing. I'm going to go to full lock this way. You can see on the dial we're showing 60 degrees here and 30 degrees there. What this is showing you that with the same amount of rack stroke, you're getting 30 degrees more with an angle kit. So this increases the leverage on the steering rack by shortening the ratio of the knuckle. And what that does is give you more steering angle, which is what we all want. So going both ways back and forth, you can see the lead and trail versus each other. What this does is show you the difference between the lead and the trail wheel. You can see our rack articulation here. Yeah, this display will be brought with us to shows like the LZ World Tour, Grid Life, Hyperfest. It's interactive, so anyone can mess around with it. And you can see for yourself, understand the concept, and see what's going on by playing with it yourself.
So when I first met Josiah, I saw this thing at an Old Dominion Raceway, probably going the fastest I've ever seen. That track was weird. That track was like a straight line, and they expected you to connect the two ends.
2019.
Yeah, 2019. First time I ever met Josiah.
Yeah.
First time we all met, like, you know, we were all like, oh yeah, even Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie was there, Cam was, so I only had Donnie and Cam working for me at that time. So there was 3 of us. And we were in the small shop building this car. So that was the first ever US event that I'd ever been to 4 years ago, 2019, Dominion Raceway in Virginia. And yeah, when the boys met me, they were like, this guy from Canada that only drives, you know, 6 months of the year actually kind of shreds. I do know how to drive, and that's why I built another car. This car, mechanically, is about 20% better than my S14. How did I do that? Well, I took everything that I've learned from an S chassis and then applied it with the ability of the Corvette's chassis, which is far more capable. Originally, the Corvette was built as a race car, then made into a production car, where the 240 was a production car, and then we made it into a race car. There's a big difference between those two things. Very important to note. And this car is going to be way more capable. So let me show you. We've got a low center of gravity rad, a rad filled with water, and this dual fan shroud weighs around 55 pounds. That's something that I wanted to put as low as possible, and obviously put over the rear wheels. This custom suspension, we just got some nice GoPro shots of. Everything that you see is no longer a Corvette. I probably have around 700 parts. All of them are considered a prototype on this car. None of them have been run before. Only me, and only in the last couple days have we actually driven with all of these prototype parts. If I open up this, you can see inside has our nitrous, has our fuel from Nuke Performance, has our cool box. Rad, you can see a little bit better. This custom sway bar, our 2-way BC ER coilovers. The entire body kit is from HTK Drift HQ. They're the only ones that can get you HTK stuff for this Corvette. So if you want to duplicate what I've done here, you're going to need to get a lot of stuff from Drift HQ. These inner fenders are actually from Sultan. He does not sell them yet. He does want to sell them. I will tell you firsthand, these are the highest quality carbon parts I've ever seen. The HTK is all carbon Kevlar, which is a little bit more flexible for exterior body panels. Carbon kind of cracks, it's a little more rigid, so use it where you see fit. Follow me around this way. Randomly, I did this and this popped off on our Instagram. It's very simple. I didn't have the factory latching mechanism, so I just put a quick release. We are using this car, so it's not perfectly clean. We still need to put some tape over these door bars, but you can see the gist of it. We've got our Link ECU dash, Link ECU keypad. This entire car runs off of 3 PDMs from Link and the G4X Link ECU. D&D has hooked us up with these seats, and basically everything interior-wise is from them. This is their FIA rated seats, their FIA rated seat belts. Everything's really nice. I really like using their stuff. I actually, in this car, for how high of a level of build it is, I kept the stock steering column and the stock pedals. When I took the stock pedals out, I realized that they only weighed, it was like 3.4 pounds or something. It was very light once I shaved the bracket down. Lighter than any pedal box you could ever buy, and then higher quality because they're all magnesium, so they're very strong. Like I said, this car used to be a race car first. The steering column, I love how it's still telescopic and that I can still adjust the height of it. I trimmed that completely down as well, so you can't really tell. And then the quality of a stock column with their U-joints and their bearings is really nice. You can't really duplicate that even with aftermarket stuff. This car also has our custom door hinges where you can quick release the door. I probably will need to remove those for FD as per their rulebook, but for a product design and development and to sell, this worked perfectly. Coming to the front, again, we've got our HGK Drift HQ body kit and fenders. But in here, we have the goodness of our very custom angle kit. This angle kit consists of a BMW steering rack mounted where the Corvette leaf spring used to be, a full billet knuckle, our tie rod pickup point, which can be changed for ratio and Ackerman, Willwood brakes, 4-piston, and everything on the knuckle is also modular. If I was in an accident, this bracket is what's going to bend. This has capture nuts and bolts. I can easily unbolt this bracket, throw a new one on, and continue to go a lot faster than if I had to remove a control arm. The alignment will always stay the same, and that is how I designed this. I want to say I can't wait to test it, but then I don't really want to test it because then I got to crash. But that's what it's good. It's inevitable when you do this sport at this level. People are going to hit you, or you're going to hit things. So from here, I also have this custom sway bar. We do sell these kits. It works really well. I was able to make a blade style sway bar as stiff as I want and put it where I want while clearing all the steering angle. Oh, there we go.
You need 2 hands.
Okay, cool. So Cam just threw this hood on, and underneath you can see the power plant of this car. It's a very high horsepower NA engine. It's a 434 Dart block, Frankenstein heads. Basically the best setup that you can do for an NALS. Makes around 650 wheel horsepower and around 800 wheel horsepower with 150 shot of nitrous. We would be going higher than that, but we maxed out our injectors. So going forward, we're going to increase the injector size, increase the nitrous size, and we will be running probably up to a 300 shot, making close to 1,000 wheel. This car is an absolute weapon. Currently speaking, we're weighing in at 2,850 pounds with me sitting in the car. So we actually have room, as per the rule book, to weigh the car heavier with ballast, giving us somewhat of an advantage because you can move that weight around and change the characteristics of the car based on where that weight is. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching the video. It's great being on the Drift HQ YouTube channel. This is all happening because of the LZ World Tour. You guys are gonna get lots of content from that as well. Joel, you gotta post this before the whole World Tour thing starts, I would think.
Look, that's Ethan, that's Donnie's brother.
I'm the paperweight. I'm holding down your wing right now while it seats.
Okay guys, go watch our channel if you want to see more. Enjoy the rest of Drift HQ's content. See you guys.